What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Thrill Life podcast here on Coasters and Things YouTube channel. I'm Nick from Beyond the Thrills alongside Jason, Coasters and Things. And we're also here with two very special guests, Sean, Dr. Coaster, and Nathaniel, or Nate, Hawk Zero G.
Hello.
How is everybody doing today?
Doing great. How about you?
Pretty good, besides the tech issues we had to set all this up. We're going to talk about the Georgia trip, guys.
First off, if you haven't seen the vlogs, stop watching this video, go watch the vlogs first, and then come back to this video.
Yep, all three of them are out now.
Mm-hmm.
The trip really lived up to the hype. I mean, I had been dying to get down to Georgia for a while. It was like my last stop in that like southern coast of parks, and I thought it really lived up to the hype, and I'm glad I waited to go the year I decided to go. You know, I think we'll probably talk a lot of Air Force One today, so I know that was definitely the highlight.
That's why I'm here
of the trip.
I didn't go to over Georgia. I didn't go over Georgia.
Yeah, so I'm from New Jersey. Nate's from Pennsylvania. Jason, Tennessee. Sean, you actually live down there, so you didn't actually like travel. You just happened to show up at Fun Spot and hang with us. So that's basically why we invited you onto this episode today.
Yeah, how far is the drive for you, Sean? Like 10 minutes?
20, 25, something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
Varies on the day.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Love it.
Why don't you let the viewers know how many rides you do have on Air Force One now?
Last weekend, made it to 257.
That's mind-blowing. For it being open less than a month.
Ayo, Fun Spot puns. Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Wait, when did it open? The 31st, right?
March 31st, yeah.
That's right.
So we'll backtrack now and we'll go from the beginning to the end. So I just wanted to get everyone's initial reaction, and it seems like we all had a great time. So we're going to start with the travel day. So Nate, flight, good. Met up at the airport. We flew from Philadelphia International.
We flew Frontier. Yeah, we didn't get frontiered by them, so the flight out was actually pretty smooth, honestly. And I think we were only delayed an hour coming back, so the flight was pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, it was. I hadn't been on an airplane in a number of years, so it was weird being at an airport again. Nate figured out pretty much right away when we were going through security that I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even remember.
You trying to wear your shoes?
Yeah, I didn't even remember.
That actually did happen. Yeah, the TSA did tell him to take his shoes off.
That's a big no-no, Nick.
Yeah.
The last time I flew, I was like maybe 12, so it had been a while. Got there fine. Jason picked us up at the airport. So Nate, once we were in Jason's car on the way to Fun Spot, what was kind of going through your mind?
I was excited. I know what it's like to pull up to a massive coaster for the first time. So I was really excited for the view. And I think it's one of the best, presentations of, any roller coaster out there.
Especially when you're driving southbound like you are. It's like a tunnel of trees, and they turn the corner. It's just there.
Yeah. It
literally just appeared off the highway. I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. And then you park, and it's almost crazy how the priorities of this park to put a massive RMC in before they even put a parking lot in.
No, they did. They did add in a new parking lot.
The employees, I think, park on the pavement.
So we made it to Fun Spot. Literally, once we got our wristbands, went straight to Air Force One. There was no second thoughts whatsoever. Should we ride Hurricane? Should we ride the kiddie coaster first? Because they are closer to the entrance. It was literally full send to Air Force, which is in the back of the park. For those that have been to Fun Spot, you already know that. And
when we walked up to Air Force One, there was no one in sight either. Like it really
Friday nights
felt
are the
like
best time to go.
yeah, it was almost a little spooky. And
It really
Yeah.
walking up to it and like kind of you walk underneath the double up to get to the station, and I just remember the train like whizzing past my head
The
as
double up.
we walked
That's got to
underneath
be
there.
the world's biggest double up on a roller coaster.
Incredible. It's
World's
absolutely
best, most
incredible.
likely.
Yeah. So no one to be found. The park was an absolute ghost town. And I want to say there was maybe 50 people in the entire park.
Yeah, 50 or 60. Yeah.
I was in the station the whole night. I couldn't tell you how many people were there.
And then as the night went on, the line just slowly and slowly got shorter, which led us to riding a number of times. Nate, you finished with, I want to say 11 on Friday night.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And I think Jason and I, we had 7.
Yeah.
And Nate, you were there much earlier in the day. You got there, or not Nate, sorry. Sean, you were there much earlier in the day. So you finished with what, like 50 some rides that night?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did open to close 6 hours. Didn't even leave the station. Got 58.
So my first initial reaction, I want to say my first ride, I sat somewhere in the middle, or maybe it was a little closer to the back. Definitely closer to the back than the front. It was with you, Sean, and then Nate, you were with Jason.
Right
And
behind us, I think. Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah,
it
it
was
was car 4.
great, but it's even more intense than I would have ever imagined. Lived up to every expectation and more. I really don't have much else to say. Once the entire weekend was over, I came to the realization that yes, it is my favorite RMC. I was skeptical to put it above Steel Vengeance because Steel Vengeance has the duration. And Steel Vengeance is just such an awesome ride. But there's something about Air Force One for me that stands apart. And I just feel like it's better. It is shorter, but it hits harder.
It has the shock factor. Shock factor.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Get that, like, holy shit feeling on Steel Vengeance that I did on Air Force.
I think Air Force One, for people that haven't ridden it before, I think they'll be stunned at how intense it is.
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, when I rode Steel Vengeance, but this one was like, how does this ride exist? That was kind of my like.
More importantly, how does it exist at the park that it's at?
Yeah, for sure. So what was your first initial reaction then, Nate?
My initial reaction, I mean, nothing but good stuff. Like, I was impressed by the truss dive. I thought it looked overrated before I rode it, but I was actually surprised with how much air you get at the top of it. And then the speed hill is probably RMC's best speed hill. It's the only one that doesn't just make you like get thrown forward a little bit. It actually throws you way vertical out of your seat. Plus, it kind of bends to the left a little bit, so you get a small amount of laterals with it. The stall's the best stall I've ever been on. I think hands down.
The Outer Bank, man.
And then the Outer Bank. Yeah, the Outer Bank is the best Outer Bank.
I like it more than Steel Vengeance's Outer Bank.
Yeah, it's way prolonged, and it actually didn't even really remind me of that element more as much as Iron Gwazi's wave turn over the station.
It feels more like a wave turn the way it's profiled.
Yeah, and I think the length of it too. And yeah, exactly. You're way more banked
horizontal.
Yeah, definitely.
Trying to think.
And then the double up's incredible. I think we mentioned that. The turnaround's pretty forceful. I don't think it's as forceful as people are saying it is. But I mean, some people have numbers to back it up, but it didn't feel like, when I compare a right-hand turn, I compare it to Intimidator 305's right-hand turn. So, if it's not that, if that's the benchmark. But Oh, I forgot the arcade roll. I love the arcade roll. That might be.
I was about to mention that if you weren't.
Yeah.
That
Go ahead.
yeah. That element is like holy guacamole. Like the best element
That's
on
what
any
Maverick should have
RMC,
had.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
Maverick's long lost inversion.
I think people would call Maverick. Still my favorite coaster, but I think people would give it more recognition if it had kept that roll above the water. But I mean, I understand why they took it out because I've seen the videos that. Oh my gosh, that would have killed somebody.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of recognition anyway because it's at Cedar Point.
Oh, I don't. Regardless of where it is, I think it would get recognition. Maverick is awesome. Let's not act like it's not. Come on, and if you feel that way, better not say it in front of me.
No, it's in my top 10. It's in my top 10.
I think it's my
Sean, I like that. Respect.
number 12 or 13 for me, something like that. It's still in my top 15. Yeah.
It's my 14. It's right inside my top 15.
So I was going to mention a little bit before when Nate was talking about all of his favorite elements. I think the only part of Steel Vengeance that is stronger than Air Force One is probably still the first drop. And that's not just that Air Force One doesn't have a great first drop. I think Steel Vengeance, the airtime is just a little bit stronger coming down. And it's also taller, so that could have a lot to do with it too. But as for the inversions, I don't think any inversion on any other RMC comes even close to the arcade roll.
Death Roll and arcade, neck and neck.
Yeah, the death roll, the arcade roll. What else? Goliath's stall is pretty good. What else? Iron Rattler's 0G roll is good.
That is a good one. Yeah. I think Twisted Colossus has a good 0G roll too. That's super whippy on the blue side. But I think when Air Force One has that arcade roll plus the stall, I think it's got the best inversions on an RMC. I think that's the argument.
That ride has 4 of the best inversions you could get on a roller coaster, period. Like, duh.
The fourth one wasn't even supposed to be there. They just like squeezed it in.
It's awesome.
Does the arcade roll for you, Sean, still like blow you away the amount of times you've ridden it now, or does it not stun you anymore?
I mean, not as much as it used to, but it's still like, oh my God, this is. I think more of it is the tunneling of it. Like you got your hands up, it's like I'm gonna hit something. You don't.
It's like low clearance.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me that they wanted it to go through the arcade first.
Yeah, the initial pitch was that, they were gonna put a tube through the roof of the arcade building, but they were already having enough issues with like coding and local government. They said, nah, forget it. Let's just go over it.
That would have been so sick, honestly.
I would not be surprised if in a few years there's a second level to that arcade where the arcade roll does go through it.
I would like.
That's an old building. That's an old building.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, it is. They didn't want to remove it, and I heard this saying once from someone: "Why tear down something when you can build over it?"
And Fun Spot said, "Hell yeah!" And yeah, they made it happen. Still unbelievable that there even is an RMC to that magnitude at Fun Spot at a little amusement park in Georgia. First of all,
It ain't gonna be little for long. It ain't gonna be little for long.
You're right about that. But
I believe that. So, what was that, Nick?
I said I was just gonna say shout out to everyone, all the staff there.
Yeah,
staff
everyone is Fun Spot Atlanta. The staff is so great. They're so much better than Six Flags Over Georgia's staff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, night and day. So we were there 2 weekends ago, right? So over the last weekend, Sean, I feel like there were even more people down there. So what's it been like having people come down every weekend and being psyched?
There hasn't been a weekend I haven't been there because there's always somebody like texting me like, "Hey, I'm in town." It's like, all right, I'll come watch your first reaction. Sure. Don't get convinced me to ride the coaster. And then like, especially when you just get a smiling face at the front gate that recognizes you and knows your name, like staff and visitors, is just amazing. Saturdays have been slammed. I know you're talking about like the amount of people. Saturdays, the wait can get out to like the front entrance of the ride, like downstairs, which is probably like a 20 plus minute wait, which for Fun Spots is a significant wait. And then
Mhm.
Friday night's the time to go. Like they scan like on the platform rather than in the stairs on Friday nights.
Yeah.
As y'all saw,
Yeah.
you just get to sit.
Mhm.
If you just get to sit in your seat, if no one wants a seat, you just get to keep it.
Mhm.
Those 6 airtime hills to end the ride. Oh my god, dude. Those are borderline dangerous.
You heard the numbers. Those guys that were with us had the Ride Forces app, and they kept recording the numbers. It was pulling
Yeah.
like -1.4, -1.5.
There were
Nuts.
so many people there that weekend and so many great people. I had said to Jason and Nate when we got back to our hotel one of the nights, I was like, there hasn't been a single person down here this weekend that I was like, oh, I got to deal with this person. Like everyone was so cool. I'll give a couple shout outs to a few people now. One, got to be my boy Skittle.
It's my boy Michael.
2, Aiden, he was really cool. You know who I'm talking
Aiden's
about.
awesome too. I'm hanging out with him this weekend. Yep.
Yeah. Aiden was really cool. And he was there Friday night, and then he was there that Sunday when it was just me and you, Nate, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
On Friday night, your old friend Billy was there.
Yeah, I was going to mention Billy as well. Hadn't talked to him in I don't know how long. We also ran into an absolute legend that you will probably run into if you're at Fun Spot Atlanta. Doesn't have a lot of followers, but you will see him, and it is our boy Pay, LaPadrius Bugs. Super nice guy. He was there Friday. I didn't really get to talk to him Friday because I was just so in the heat of the moment trying to get my rides in on Air Force because we got to Fun Spot a little after 8:30 p.m. and it was only open till 10 o'clock. So we were kind of short on time, and I wanted to make sure I got as many rides in as possible for the first night because weather was kind of skeptical throughout the weekend, but we really did luck out.
We got so lucky.
We
with
got
the
real
weather.
lucky.
We did because earlier in the week they were calling for thunderstorms and it was clear skies the entire weekend. It may have drizzled a little bit on Sunday, but nothing crazy at all. Nothing major where rides shut down. So yeah, we really lucked out. But at that point in time, that Friday night, they were still calling for rain on Sunday. So I was like, I got to get all my rides in. And then once the park closes, I'll talk to everyone. So I didn't really get to talk to Pay that much Friday, but I did make time to talk to him Sunday. And he said he's seen our podcast before, which was pretty cool to hear, Jason. So Skittle, Aiden, Pay, Billy, those are all the notable guys from Friday night. And you too, I guess, Sean.
Yeah, I fit in there somewhere. I'm always there. I'm a parasite to anyone that shows up at that park.
So we leave the park. Nate, Jason, and I.
This was
our way
to. This was the worst part of the whole weekend.
Yeah,
I was watching this from afar. It was quite comical.
You live in the area, Sean. So we tried 3 Waffle House locations near our hotel, which were all somewhat near Fun Spot as well, because our hotel was only like 20 minutes from Fun Spot. And the first 2 we stopped at, you could not sit inside. It was almost like a drive-in, if that makes sense.
Really?
But we did end up finding one, which was
perfect though.
Really on the same street as our hotel, and we got to do Waffle House. I had never actually eaten at a Waffle House before. There are several in Pennsylvania. I've passed them
Good
multiple
stuff.
times. There's one right by Dutch Wonderland. I don't know why I've never been there. But
there's one near Dorney Park too.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, not super close to it, but maybe about.
Oh my gosh, though, that Waffle House over by our hotel, that was squeezed in a corner, and I had to like go in and then or turn down the next street and then turn back around just to get into the parking lot.
Yeah, it's hard to get into it, but we were determined to eat waffles at 11 o'clock at night, and we did it. So, and then we headed back to the hotel. We stayed at a Homewood Suites. It was super nice. It was a big room. Shout out to my mom for helping us out with the room, having our Hilton Honors rewards. Played a huge role in saving us a lot of money. And
yeah, we were able to upgrade the room for no extra charge.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so we had a little kitchen, a little sitting area. Nate had his own bed and bathroom, and then Jason and I had 2 beds in another room and our own bathroom as well. We were living it up.
And then after that, we went to Six Flags Over Georgia that morning.
Yep. So trying to remember. Well, I know we got there an hour before the park opened.
Yeah, we got there way too early.
We got
The
there
pictures
really
of y'all
early.
at the front gate, the picture of Nate like standing in the midway by the front gate, just going all by
Give it a
himself.
thumbs up. No one else is there.
We
Hey,
were literally
you're not
the
first,
second.
you're last.
We were the second car in line to get in.
Yeah.
It was worth getting there that early though, because we were at the front of the gate, and it turned out to be somewhat of a crowded day later on. So I was glad we were able to knock out a number of the rides in the first 2 hours, and that's always the way to do it at a park for the first time, I think.
We rode a very not warmed up Twisted Cyclone.
That thing is so slow in the morning.
Yeah, that was the ride we decided to head to, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I thought it was kind of forceless those first 2 rides. Well, the first ride especially. The second ride you could tell was starting to warm up a little bit, but yeah, it just felt very, very slow. And that could have also been because the train was empty. There were maybe 4 or 5 other people on the train.
Well, and because Airy Force ruined it for y'all, that y'all rode Airy Force first. If y'all had rode Twisted Cyclone first, y'all would have probably liked it more.
But do you agree that it was running slow that morning?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. As long as we can agree on that. So, Nate, what was your first initial reaction? Like I said, it wasn't like amazing. I wasn't really blown away.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather speak to more of how it was on the re-ride when it was more warmed up with the train. It gave me a better idea of what it actually was. But it, I prefer its cousin up in New England.
I do.
No way.
the
No
Georgia
way. Wicked
Yeah,
Cyclone is
definitely.
so slow in the last lap.
Oh,
What year did you ride it?
2018.
2018. I rode it in 21 and 22. I'd get back up there. I thought it was, I kind of understood in 2021, but I thought last year was running excellent. But I've definitely heard that before, the ending of it gets a lot of
I
fun.
prefer Wicked Cyclone as well. So, yeah, those first 2 rides in the morning on Twisted Cyclone really didn't give us an idea of what the ride can do. It was somewhat of a letdown. And, I mean, I was glad to have gotten 2 rides on it, because who knows, maybe we would have went on it again the rest of the weekend. So at least I got to ride it. But Sunday, the following day, when we rode it again, much better ride. And it was later in the day. It was more warmed up. So
Yeah,
totally.
we'll get.
And then you went.
Georgia Scorcher.
Yeah, you went to one of your most anticipated coasters at that park.
I'm actually shocked that you found coaster-specific merch there. Have they gotten better at that, Jason?
At Six Flags over Georgia. Yeah,
It was all used to be generic, like everything. It was just Six Flags. There was like no like specific coaster merch typically.
There's Twisted Cyclone merch. There's Georgia Scorcher merch. There's Goliath merch. Too bad there's no Mindbender merch, but oh well.
I didn't see any Goliath merch.
Yeah, there were in Goliath's gift shop.
Oh, okay.
I feel like every Six Flags sells a shirt that says like "I conquered Goliath."
Yeah,
that one I have seen that one.
Yeah.
Well, they technically could sell the shirt at every park that has a Goliath if they really wanted to, because they all have the same logo pretty much. Besides, they pretty much all have the same logo.
Yeah. Well, we rode Georgia Scorcher in the front row.
Yeah.
Best decision we could have ever made that morning. Great first initial reaction. And now thinking about it, I think I might prefer it to Green Lantern. I know you said you did, Nate.
Oh, without a doubt. But I'm not a fan of Green Lantern.
Okay. Yeah, I like Green Lantern, but I think Scorcher is more intense, actually. It's obviously a lot shorter, and it's not as tall.
I think it's a little smoother than Green Lantern, though.
I'd agree with that as well. But yeah, love Georgia Scorcher. I mean, yeah, I know you guys were making fun of me the whole weekend for calling me Mr. But
I loved it too.
It's just funny.
I loved it too.
It's funny. I'm sorry. And then next,
good ride.
Yeah. And then next was Daredevil Dive.
Trim break the ride.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Didn't used to be that way.
Since the last time I rode with the trim, got so much worse.
You could feel it. It hit too. Like as we're literally about to descend, it just like
No.
jolts.
Did you know it was there beforehand?
Jason
I
had,
did not.
yeah.
See,
Oh, you
I didn't know
donate?
about it either. It's just
I
complete
told them
letdown.
about the trim, and it even got worse than I had remembered
Because
it.
I had ridden it before. It was like, I don't even know if it was up there before, or if they had turned it off or whatever, but it was fantastic for a year or two. And then like I got on it last year, midsummer, and I just almost came to a complete stop over the first drop. I was like, what is this?
When
Terrible.
did you ride it when it didn't have it?
2020, 2021.
Okay. Because I was about to say the first couple times I rode it in 2018 and 19, it was good. And then it got the trim on the drop and ruined it.
Yeah. But Daredevil
was-
disappointment. I definitely prefer Hydrus at Casino Pier.
I did too.
Still probably do prefer Daredevil Dive to TMNT Shellraiser, however, because it's not painful and it's at least tolerable.
It's really smooth. It's just really forceless, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. But I didn't expect the trim to hit as hard as it did. It kind of, like I said in the vlog, it killed the ride.
In my opinion, it's not even a top 5 coaster at Over Georgia.
You had said
Nowhere
it was
close.
before.
It used to be for me, but I don't think it's anymore.
Before I thought it was around number 4, number 5, before it got the trim, and then when it got the trim, it lowered it.
Okay.
That being said, I'd still take it over another coaster over Georgia. We'll get to that later.
What? All right. So then where did we go after Daredevil Dive? Did we go to Scream Machine?
We went to Superman the ride.
Yeah, you mean
Superman Ultimate Flight.
There you go.
Yeah,
It has an actual name.
We went to Superman Ultimate Flight next. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done it a number of times at Great Adventure. Nate, you decided you opted to ride in the back instead of going the front with us, even though it was a station wait. And what were your, I know you're not a big fan of flying coasters, so what was your like initial thoughts?
Well, I've ridden the first one I ever did was the one at Great Adventure.
Okay.
And so it was kind of cool to ride the original version of that and see how it was kind of built on top of the hill and it
Terrain
doesn't just
coaster.
fly around
And
the parking lot.
how so much better it is compared to the ones at Great Adventure and Great America. Those are just
I
on
don't
flat
know.
ground.
Yeah,
No terrain
I don't know.
interaction.
For sure, it gets points for me, but I'm not gonna say it's like so much better. It's still the same.
I agree. I'm gonna be completely honest, Jason. You had said to me for the longest time how awesome it was. It really didn't feel much different to me than the one at Great Adventure. Is it built on the terrain and it's cool that it interacts with the hill and it has the tunnel? Yeah.
And it has the tunnel and the trench, which gives it browning points over the others, in my opinion.
Totally. But you know, I still got Tatsu as the best one that I've done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
That's
I'm on the
insane.
page as you though, Nate. It didn't feel any more intense and it didn't feel that much different than the one at Great Adventure. Like, I don't know. I expected it to be a little bit better. Still a good ride, not a bad ride.
Not like the other superhero clone that's at this park. Right.
That wasn't next.
Not next.
the Scream
but
Machine
I'm
next?
saying
Next
it's
was Great American
more-
Scream Machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scream Machine. Nate, you and I really liked this ride. Jason, you did too.
Yeah, that ride
It's
used to be
good.
so brutal with how
It used to be
rough
one of the
it
worst
was.
coasters ever written. Yeah.
Now it's very well. I won't say it has much airtime, but it's very re-rideable now with how
Like
smooth it is.
It has like 3 or 4 good hills. They're like every hill you do not get airtime. There are several hills where I didn't come out of my seat at all. But there are a few hills that are actually pretty solid, and the laterals are decent too on that far turnaround.
Yeah, I think the good way to think of it for you, Nick, is it's a big version of Kingdom Coaster at Dutch Wonderland.
Nah. Kingdom Coaster probably has better airtime though, in my opinion.
What happened to Sean?
He lagged out.
I'm not sure what
Lost
happened
him.
there.
Well, we lost Sean. Like I said earlier in the
That's okay.
we've been having some tech
Maybe we'll
issues.
get him back.
Yeah, we've been having technical difficulties today.
Yeah, wait for him to rejoin. So
Yeah, Blue Hawk.
Yeah,
No,
we
we
did
did.
Blue Hawk.
No, we did Justice League next,
We did a run of Justice League. I forgot.
which you killed us, Nick.
Yeah, I did well. I've done it so many times at Great Adventure, and I honestly think their Justice League is probably better than the one at Great Adventure. The sensors were a lot better. The blasters don't always work at Great Adventure, and there's been several times where my blaster will just stop working throughout the entire ride. I mean, it's the same exact ride. There's not. There you are, Sean. It's the same.
Somebody called me.
Yeah, it's the same exact ride as the one at Great Adventure, but I think it's a little bit better.
We're talking about
always
yeah.
cool ride.
We're talking about Justice League, Sean.
Oh yeah, good little shooter for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. So there's two dark rides, Six Flags Over Georgia. Justice League is cloned, and then the other one, Monster Mansion, is special and unique for that park. We'll talk about that later. So then after Justice League, that's when we went on Blue Hawk. Nate, you decided to do the back. I wanted to wait for the front. I wasn't brave enough to ride in the back. What'd you think of Blue Hawk?
It's better than the worst SLCs, but it's not as good as the best SLCs. And that's like the best thing I can compare to because of the layout. It feels way more like an SLC than it feels like an Aero Looper or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. The first couple times I've rode that, first 3 or 4 times I rode that, I hated it. When I rode it with you, Nick, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's this great ride. It's honestly pretty smooth. It's just jerky and yeah, I don't really. That's probably the only word I can use to describe it. Jerky.
Yeah.
Kind of moves your head around a lot. It's not painful. It's pretty smooth. It's just jerky. But I mean, the vest restraints definitely help because if it still had the old Vekoma restraints, I think it would be a worse ride.
Yeah, back when it was Ninja. Yeah, and actually, I've been to Six Flags Over Georgia well over a dozen times. You know how many times I've ridden Blue Hawk in total?
Probably like 4.
Probably twice.
5 rides on Blue Hawk ever.
I would have actually, yeah. No,
that's about what I've got. That's probably about what I've got.
Really?
I'm gonna keep it at 1.
I don't think it's like necessarily bad. I just don't enjoy it all that much.
Yeah.
And done for you, Nate. You got the credit.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do it when I go back down in a couple weeks.
I would do
Probably
it again.
skip that one.
Yeah, I would do it again. It was cool. Like it was kamikaze in Wildwood.
Yeah.
Day, so that was kind of cool. I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. What did we do after Blue Hawk?
Might have been Batman.
Can we talk about Batman now?
I think it was
Let's
Batman.
talk about
yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, all right. It probably was Batman anyway. So Nate, lead us off with Batman.
Well, again, we had better rides the next day because we rode in the back row.
Yeah, did that Batman clone live up to y'all's hype?
Oh,
yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Big highlight of the trip.
Thing's almost too much for me. It's nuts.
I know we sat in
I
know we sat in the back for those back-to-back rides on Sunday. Where did we sit for our first ride Saturday?
Row 6.
Was it 6?
Yeah. No, you were a row ahead of us. You were row 5. Me and Nate were row 6.
Okay.
Okay.
I would have liked to have done it in the front, but I've done so many B&M inverts in the front before. I kind of know what to expect. But I'm glad we got the back at least. I'm glad to have said that that would be kind of a shame to say my only rides on it were in the middle. So it's cool to say that I got a back row ride.
It feels like it runs twice as fast as the other Batman clones.
Yeah, I like
it is ridiculous.
Definitely. What'd you say, Sean?
I didn't say anything.
I thought someone said something. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I definitely like the color scheme better than the one at Great Adventure. And I know they just repainted it, but it looks like Kraft mac and cheese.
That's what Montu looks. Yeah, it's exactly what Montu looks like.
The supports on it, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. That is actually a similar color. So we did the Batman clone, and this was around the time when the park was getting pretty crowded. So we opted to do the skip the line.
They're like single-use flash pass, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're only available after 1 o'clock. So if you want to utilize that, you have to wait till after 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we used
But
them
it's-
for Mindbender and Goliath.
Yeah,
It's a good move.
and definitely worth it.
Oh, it was 100% worth it because
Mhm.
Mindbender was probably close to a 2-hour wait, and then Goliath was probably around that as well. This, like I said, we really lucked out in the morning and were able to knock out a bunch of coasters, and that has a lot to do with getting to the park early. Because while others are still going through security and getting through the front gate, we're already in the park. So
I've never
Yeah, but-
understood. I've never understood why Mindbender gets such long lines.
it was solid. I know you really like Shockwave, Nate. It wasn't Shockwave good though.
No, not quite.
I rode Mindbender the first few times before the refurb, and unfortunately, the refurb didn't do better for it. It did worse for it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
the
I
refurb
heard.
destroyed that ride.
I know. I saw.
I hate even talking about it.
I think.
At least they didn't put vest restraints on it.
I
Yeah.
think.
Still has lap bars.
Yeah, I think the first video I saw on your channel, Sean, is your Mindbender review where you were just ranting about how they killed it.
I don't do a lot of negativity on my channel. That was one of the videos that I went in. I went in on Six Flags in that video.
That was before Airy Force was announced, and you started covering that.
Mm,
Yeah, it's weird. Aren't they like B&M trains?
Yeah, they don't run as
Yeah.
well as the old Schwarzkopf trains did.
Yeah, if it had the trains like Super Duper Looper, it would be a lot better.
Yeah,
at least we're
'cause
getting triple loop here soon.
So next up is my favorite coaster in the park, and this was my second most anticipated coaster on this trip outside of Air Force One, Goliath. Wow. I don't, and I'm pretty sure I said this in the vlog. Before Goliath, I don't think I've been on a B&M with ejector like such strong airtime. I would go to the point, like I would go as far as saying the airtime for Goliath's finale felt like an RMC.
close.
I really,
More sustained than an RMC.
yeah, probably, but it was up there. So Nate, you were pretty blown away. You were laughing your ass off.
Yeah, I really loved it. I mean, I had been hearing for a long time that this was like the hyper, or I guess mega, or whatever you want to call it. Like, the only thing that other B&M hypers do better is their first drops. I've been on better first drops than Goliath's, but Goliath is the one that finishes the strongest and keeps its pace the best. Plus, it has one of the better turnarounds. That toilet bowl turnaround thing is
Helix,
absolutely bonkers.
in which you passed out on it, Nick. You passed out in the Helix.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like a Helix. It's so intense.
Mhm.
Goliath does airtime better than most of the other B&M hypers, but most of the other B&M hypers are smoother than Goliath is.
Totally.
Not rough. It's just a little rattly, and that could also just be it's showing its age a little bit.
I think that
Yeah,
I think the
don't mind
trains. Yeah, I think the trains could benefit from new wheels. Honestly,
I think it could benefit from a repaint. That's another thing.
yes. Oh my gosh.
It doesn't
Keep
look
it
bad from a distance, but up close, you can really see how faded it is.
Just at least keep it the same colors.
Yeah, or even just paint the rails orange. I can't stand the gray rails with the orange spine. It looks so bad.
Yeah, but back to what Nate said with the first drop. I think this is my favorite B&M hyper now. However, all the other B&M hypers I've been on have better first drops. Like I definitely prefer Candymonium's drop to this one. And then I think that was it. Didn't we leave the park after Goliath?
No, acrophobia.
Was that day?
We did that weird drop tower. Yeah.
I gotta do that from Georgia too.
I swear, I can never ride that drop tower and not scream on it for some reason.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely not the best seats,
What's
but
worth doing?
tense, and the ride op was having a great time.
Yeah,
they like sing and everything on that one's crazy.
it's so funny.
Yeah.
I'll say though, drop line at Dollywood is so much better.
Okay, yeah, I could probably see that.
That's a good drop tower. Yeah.
All right, so then we left the park, and this is where Sean comes back in. So we didn't we go to the hotel for a little bit to relax?
No, we went to the Varsity. Remember?
Yeah, you overhyped that, Jason. Sorry, I'm just gonna tell you that now.
It's just iconic. I mean, that's really all it is.
Uh-huh.
Nate, do you agree, or do we just have food really good down here?
You mean up there?
Or
Up there?
Up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go back. Maybe once to take somebody, but maybe try something different. But
Yeah, it
you
was
know.
a rave about it. It was no different than Five Guys, in my opinion. But I mean, it's like you said, you can only get it in Atlanta. So looking back, I'm still glad we did it. But anyway, after the varsity, we went back to the hotel, relaxed, and then had to go back to Fun Spot that night. What else would we have done than get more rides on Air Force? That night was probably my favorite couple hours of the trip. Honestly. What about
You
you?
know what? I can't believe we didn't shout out earlier.
It was humming
Eric,
that night.
GM of Fun Spot.
Oh, I was gonna wait till Sunday to do that, but we can shout him out.
Oh, but I remember meeting him. I don't know if we met him. I remember meeting him. I think we saw him every day of the weekend. But I remember how happy he was Saturday because the place was pretty busy and there was a line for Air Force One. And I asked him that night about our bags for the next day if we could keep them somewhere. And I was like, I'll make sure we'll come in and, I'll spend money here. And he was like, don't even worry about it. Just tell everybody about us. So
Yeah.
there's something really magical about what's going on down there.
I was like, we will. I mean, you got a winner on your hands right there with that ride.
Mm-hmm.
That night, that was when we also rode Hurricane. That ride is so jank.
Love that ride. It's in my top. I think it's in my top 30.
Jank.
Yeah.
Amazing though.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it is fun. It used to be called Screaming Eagle. That the first time I went there it was called Screaming Eagle.
So last summer they apparently over greased the wheels. It was so much fun.
That's amazing.
It was running mild compared to what you got it at was mild compared to what I've had it at before.
I'll say you can tell though the ride operators over at Air Force enjoy their job a lot more than whoever was operating Hurricane. You can tell why.
Oh yeah.
Why did they put me at this ride? And I understand if I had worked there, I would not want to operate Hurricane either. Seems
even the ride up at the kiddie coaster, when we walked up to it, he kind of gave us the look like, why are y'all wanting to ride this?
Yeah, it was like,
yeah.
I think at first he thought we were joking, like messing around. I'm like, yeah, we actually are.
The lift hill on the kiddie coaster has a bump in it.
Yeah, it does. Decent kiddie coaster, but Hurricane does have pretty crazy airtime. I haven't done Hurricane at Fun Spot Kissimmee, which everyone seems to rave about.
It's good. It's good.
It's really
good. Not as good as ours though.
Wild Waves at Playland's Castaway Cove, which is another ENF miler, and I'll say the airtime on that is not even close. Hurricane is, miles better.
The only thing they could top it, I think, is Prairie Screamer.
Yeah, which you get whipped around the turns on Hurricane.
You really do. Yeah, it does not feel safe whatsoever, but it's there, it's open, and we rode it. And we had a bunch of enthusiasts with us.
Yeah, there were 6 of us. We took up a whole train.
I don't remember the other kid's name, but Dom's Coaster Zone, I'm pretty sure it's his account.
Dominic.
Yeah, he was there with us too. He was really cool. So shout out to him as well. I'm pretty sure, was Skittle there again?
I think Michael was probably there with us, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably there all 3 days, honestly.
Basically, whenever I'm there, he's there. It just works out. We both basically live there.
And then Jason's idol showed up. El Toro Ryan.
How could I forget?
Unexpected. Yeah.
I had known he was in the area for the weekend because I know Ryan from seeing him at Great Adventure.
That was a nice surprise. I didn't expect him to show up.
I didn't know if he was actually I wasn't sure. Maybe we missed him. I really wasn't sure. But then I saw him from a distance. I was like, "Yo, Jason, look, it's El Toro Ryan." And you're like, "Where?" And then we were talking to him, and I told him how big of a fan you are of his channel. I mean, how could you not be a fan of his channel? He's just such a guy and makes great content.
Mm-hmm. He's so personable too.
To finish off Saturday, I actually got stuck on the brake line. what, like 30 minutes?
Me, you, Joey, and Ryan.
Yeah.
Posters, right?
Aero Coasters? Yeah, that's his account on Instagram.
Yeah, me and you, Nate, we were standing there
Yeah,
yelling
we were
at
talking
them.
with Nadine, and yeah, it was funny. What happened to it? Why did it
Probably
so what
overshot the
happened
brake
with the
run.
engine?
Something happened with the train in the station, I think. Not actually our train.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how long were we actually sitting there for?
It was probably 15, 20 minutes.
They got
Yeah.
it back open before the night was over. I don't think we got another ride on it, but I think they had it going again.
Were you feeling it in your legs, Nick? Because when you sit on the brake run after you ride that, you really feel it in your legs.
I just wanted to stand up.
You just wanted to stretch out. I slept good that night.
So did I.
So that was really all I can remember from Saturday. But like I said, that was probably like my favorite night of my favorite couple hours of the trip. So then Sunday, back to Six Flags Over Georgia.
They opened late.
The day before the park. They let us in at 10:30 when it was supposed to open at 11. We literally got in at like 10:55 that Sunday.
Yeah, so we rubbed out Goliath.
And we rode front row, right?
Yeah, great ride. Great ride. Oh my gosh, that dispatch was horrendous.
Oh
yeah. We sat there for a while.
Had the walk of shame. Oh man,
it was like a 7-minute dispatch.
I always feel so bad for people that can't fit. Man, but I mean, it was we were sitting there for a while, and it was one of those, it's one of those rides. Like, come on, I want to go already.
Yeah,
especially when it's on one train all weekend. It's on one train all weekend, and
especially when we only had 3.5 hours there.
Yeah, you're right. That wasn't good. The one train. Chat,
we still got a lot done though for only being there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right? Out one other guy. This guy Alan, super nice guy. Didn't he hit you up? Or I know he dropped a comment on one of our episodes actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Shout out to Alan. We saw him at Fun Spot as well throughout the weekend too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sean, when we were at Fun Spot that night before on Saturday, wasn't there a guy that left a comment on one of your videos saying, "Hey, I see you over at Hurricane with coasters and things and a bunch of other enthusiasts," or something like that?
I think I did get something like that. Yeah, I've got several of those. It's like they're like, I saw you. I'm like, you can like say hi. Like, it's okay. I'm not gonna bite you.
Yeah, you get that a lot with enthusiasts. They'll be like, I saw you with, and they don't call you by your first names. It's always like your channel. You know how many times I'll get hey, Beyond the Thrills, I saw you with so and so. I'm like, call me Nick, but okay.
Anyway, back to Six Flags Over Georgia, second day.
Yeah. So we did Goliath front row. It's definitely a back row ride. Not that it's not.
Yeah.
But the airtime is stronger in the back.
Yeah, I used to think front row was better. Now I think back row is better.
Yeah, and then was it Monster Mansion?
Yeah, we did Monster Mansion. My idea. You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it was
you have
cool.
to do it when you're there.
Exactly. Sean understands.
Weird, but cool. Glad we did it because Nate, you said this right away. You were like, you will definitely not find this at any other Six Flags.
I had never done one of those.
Justice Leagues?
Justice Leagues. And I like Monster Mansion better. I'd rather look at something original than...
It's longer than you think it's going to be. Monster Mansion is.
Longer. It actually is a pretty long ride, yeah. I'm not going to say like the special effects and the technology is all that great, but it's cool for what it is. And there's not that many rides left like that, like boat rides. You see all the like trackless dark rides now.
Yeah.
More than boats. So it's cool to see one of those still around. And I don't see why they would remove it anytime soon, to be honest, because there are like you said, there's people that have gone to that park for so long and it's kind of become a classic at this point.
Wasn't it
redone? Get rid of that.
Wasn't it redone in like 2009 or something like that?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, I know it was refurbished or something, but yeah, it was cool. They kind of had to convince me to do it. I was like, I don't need to do it because it had long line, and then it was short, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. And then we did it, and it was cool. I always like a good dark ride, but I don't think I like it more than Justice League, Nate. I love Justice League.
Yeah, I don't like it more than Justice League.
Could also be because I'm good at Justice League, but I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Next up was Dahlonega Mine Train, the most mediocre mine train in the world.
Was it the Mine Train?
Yeah.
Wow, we really weren't at Over Georgia that long. Because after the Mine Train, didn't we? Was it?
And we went back to Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, then
We did those double rides.
2 back-to-back rides.
Yeah.
No, we did Georgia Scorcher neck again, and then Batman again.
Did we do Scorch? Oh yeah,
We did hit it on the way over. Yeah, rode it in the middle.
that was probably my idea, honestly.
It was.
I was gonna probably my idea.
I was happy to get another one on it though, because I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, no, same. Then Batman, and
Twice.
then Twisted Cyclone, which
And it got better.
No, we did Goliath before Twisted Cyclone, remember?
we did Goliath again.
We went and did Goliath again. We got back row ride on it.
Mhm.
That's right. So yeah, because we finished with 3 rides on the trip on Goliath, and I still think the first ride was probably our best ride, but that other back row ride was still great too.
Sure.
The front row ride was definitely the weakest, and I mean that was first thing in the morning too. So that
And then we finished with back row Twisted Cyclone.
and then we headed back to Fun Spot, and this is when we had to say goodbye to Jason. And Jason, again, dude, we couldn't. I mean, we've said this to you already so many times, but for real, you really driving us around and saving us all the money for not having to pay for a rental car. Played a huge role in actually making the trip a success. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so then he dropped us off. Nate and I stayed at Fun Spot for the rest of the day until we had to head back to the airport. Took an Uber back to the airport. But that was when we kept our luggage in the gift shop. So again, shout out to Eric, the GM at Fun Spot. And Nate, you gave him a little shout out on Twitter.
Yeah, I did. He was great. He was a really nice guy.
So awesome.
Yeah, he seemed so excited that we came from such a far distance to ride it too.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he's there. Like he's there in an exciting time for the park. And I was gonna say it's kind of tough to see what's happening down there. I think there's an idea that Fun Spot could really expand, but I know there's this other idea that like small places should be watching this to see what a huge investment like this can bring.
Yeah, other small parks take notice. I'm looking at you, Lake Winnie.
Yeah. Tons of places, but then also like Fun Spot's got a lot of land to work with, and they've got money coming in from Orlando. A lot of small places don't have, an influx of cash coming in from Orlando, which is you got to think of it like one full train of Mind Blower is like it's like over $100 just sitting right there for the park. So,
how likely do you think Fun Spot Atlanta does get a GCI? Because that's the big rumor swirling around.
How likely? Very.
Wow. I can't buy into it. Sorry.
I would say it is going to happen. I wouldn't even say that there's a good chance. I'm saying that it will happen.
I want to convince myself.
And if it's not GCI, it'll be like Gravity Group or someone else. But I mean, we will get a Woody, and it's going to be probably the next coaster added.
I think they'll get another roller coaster, but I just can't see a world where it will be a Gravity Group or a GCI. Is there really that much room back there?
Yes.
They have
You'd be surprised.
80 acres of undeveloped land. They have basically Magic Kingdom just sitting without anything on it.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Hey guys, people watching, get out, buy them all the money in the world, and
load their wallets, and they will give back to you. Unlike some other, corporate parks out there.
I'd love to see. Like. I'd love to see like a 10-year transformation of that park from before Airy Force to like 7 or 8 years from now.
We're literally living in John Airy Jr.'s Planet Coaster level or world, whatever you want to call it.
I was gonna say
he's just clicking and dropping and dragging stuff.
Yeah, this feels like a roller coaster tycoon scenario.
This is John Airy Jr.'s world, and we're just living in it.
Yeah. Question here: I guess we could kind of just have a discussion, all four of us. Thoughts on Mindblower getting the RMC track?
Thank God.
About time. Wish it still had some wood, but I mean, it's better for the ride. That thing was unrideable.
I haven't been on Mindblower. Who have you three been on it?
I have.
Yep. I rode it recently. I rode it a year ago and then just a couple months ago.
Not a fan.
That ride is just
definitely rough. Definitely rough.
But
great
props to Fun
layout.
Spot. They listened and they're taking care of what needs to be taken care of. So
and that's why I think honestly that Fun Spot, if they do add a Woody to Fun Spot Atlanta, that they'll pick GCI over Gravity Group because I don't think they want to run into the same problem again that they had with Mindblower.
Yeah,
Johnny Reed Jr. is kind of like the second coming of Ed Hart and what he was doing at Kentucky Kingdom.
Yeah,
Sure.
That's a good point.
Because between Mindblower and White Lightning, even though neither one of them are glass smooth, there is a night and day difference between which one is smoother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I could see
White
that.
Lightning just got even more
top
track.
5 ride in Florida.
Retracked. If you've ridden it, have you ridden it this year, Jason, by any chance?
Yeah, I rode it in early March. The thing was flying.
Nick, you're gonna love it. They just did even more retracking. Woo!
Hey, you said top 5 in Florida after it's RMC?
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
If it's
The
smooth?
layout's that good.
Yeah,
Layout
that's
is that
tough.
good, and
There's
it's
so many. There's
fast.
Gwazi, there's Guardians, there's
Hulk.
Velocicoaster,
there's
Hagrid's, Hulk.
There's
Montu.
also Mindblower.
I also think Tron is getting a little pushed off to the side. Tron's grown
Tron
on.
too, yeah.
I'm excited to ride that now.
Haven't ridden it yet, but yeah, Tron's probably up there.
Yeah, I'll let you know in a couple days. Yeah. So overall, the trip was a huge success, and it was a blast. Glad we got to do it, guys.
I was just so thankful that everything worked out perfectly,
Absolutely.
and that y'all's flights didn't get delayed. I was so worried about y'all's flights getting delayed.
Yeah, I think it would have been a real stinker if we weren't able to go to Fun Spot that Friday night. But we
That
were
Friday.
able- yeah, because that was pretty awesome.
Because
Especially when we were just pulling up from the highway, it was like, wow, we're here.
Yeah, because when I was flying down to Orlando to start my Orlando trip over spring break, I was trying to go to Fun Spot Orlando that Friday night. Well, our flight got delayed 3 hours, and by the time we landed, they were already closed for the night. So I had to wait until the next night to go.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you stuck with us for the entire episode. If you didn't, I get it. We ramble.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But thanks for watching, and Jason, sign us out.
Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Nick, Nathaniel, and Sean, all for being here
Absolutely.
today. And this is
Thanks for
Coasters
having
and
me.
Coasters and Things.
Beyond the Thrills.
Dr. Coaster.
Hawk OG.
All signing out. See y'all later.